body, baby, show me.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. So I'm starting the video off in the mud room, or as I like to call it, the parts room, because this is where all of my spare parts that I haven't installed yet, and even some of my factory parts sit. And I'm moving the video up in here with a specific purpose, and that is this box. This is not part of this. This is like a squeegee of some sort. But these camber bolt kits. And you guys might remember last year when we first lowered the truck, I had talked about how it was going to be a pain to install and that I wasn't going to do it for a little while, and then it kind of turned into from, oh, we'll just do it next month, oh, we'll do it in a couple more months. It turned into a year, and my front tires have unfortunately succumbed to the camber that was caused. When I first lowered the truck, it didn't look that bad. It looked like maybe it had maybe less than a degree, but as it settled, it started to show. It's probably running close to a degree and a half now. And with us going to be lowering the truck even more in the future, I actually sourced last night. I haven't bought it yet, but I found one, a 4-inch block kit, because the truck is currently loaded 3 inches out back, 2.5 up front. And I'm getting a little crazy with the cheese whiz with this one because I want to lower it even more. I've been thinking about this for several months because a lot of people still say it's not low enough. It still looks like stock height. I get people asking me all the time, is it actually even lowered? When I first did it, I used to work at Adamson. They were like, do you even lower it? I was like, yeah. It's got 3 inches in the 3-inch blocks in the rear. So we're going to be kicking it up a notch. We're going to be going 4 out back and 3.5 up front. So it's going to be pretty low for a static truck. But Jordan, why would you not go bags in this case? I still plan on actually racing the truck, and bags are going to add so much weight and are going to be pretty inconvenient for the setup. If I was doing anything else with the truck, if it was just going to be a show truck that I took to meets and that was it, yeah, I'd go bags. But for the case that it is, I'm going to be using it for, which is going to be a a daily driver track hybrid when it is finished. It's got a healthier engine in it, and it's got the limited slip diff, and all the stuff it needs to actually race. We'll be able to do so without too much complications. And I'm not too concerned about fitting the drag radials I want to put on the truck eventually, the welds and stuff like that, because it's got enough wheel gap at 3 inches. I can really only think 1 inch would really take out, 1 inch of wheel gap. I think it's got close to 2 to 3 inches of wheel gap in it, so it's still got a lot of way to go in the back. The front, I'm a little bit more concerned about, but I'm not too concerned. But there's one dilemma with these bolts that I haven't even mentioned yet. I never do these for one side. I watched Chris Fix's video last night because, like I said, I was concerned that the install was going to take a while. In fact, these instructions made it sound like it was going to be a completely difficult install. It's literally going to take me 30 minutes to do. And I plan on hopefully doing it in this video. My dad, for whatever reason, I guess, decided to be like, hey, don't install them yet until I'm there to help and make sure nothing goes wrong, which I guess I kind of get, because this is something you have to be very careful with the alignment of everything when you plug everything back up. I found a trick to actually make sure I didn't have to worry too much about it, but the dilemma is it's only going to be for one side. And so when I install it, because I plan on, if I can't source another one today, I'm about to actually go call AutoZone and see if they happen to have this part number available for me. And if they do, I'll go and pick it up today. But if not, I will go ahead and install it on the right side, because that's the side that's actually having issues. The driver's side, oddly enough, hasn't really suffered too much, which is funny because it is level on the front. It's not like doesn't sit like that. It sets perfectly level. So I don't know why the driver's side hasn't taken much abuse. I guess I take a lot of left or I don't know which term would cause more stress, but I don't know. But I'm going to be going ahead and calling them, seeing if they can source me a second kit for the other side, because to my understanding, I'm going to need it on both sides so I can actually fix it. I'm going to need 2 kits, and even the instructions make that clear. If kit is needed for the other side, you just do the same installation process. I read it like 5 minutes ago, so you guys can see on kids, step 14, if kids are needed on both sides of the vehicle, repeat steps 6 through 13 on the other side. So, yeah, it's a mess. So I'm going to have to call them in a minute. But when I get back, we're going to actually talk more about everything. And hopefully, like I said, be able to actually install, hopefully, both camber kits in today. That way, one problem is solved. And then when I get the 4-inch block kit, I don't have to worry too much, because my plan is I'm going to get it the night before we take it in for alignment, because I do not want to drive more than 5 to 10 miles with this destroyed setup that it's going to have on the front end. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I've been wanting to reveal that for a while now, that we are officially going to be going to 4 inches out back and 3.5 up front. It's going to look great. But with all that said, I've got to get to the landfill now, because it's, well, my job is how I make my money. I pretty much, a lot of you guys who are new to the channel, and I've said before, and like I responded to someone the other day and talked, and even in my video, I Need Your Help, I talked about how I work for pretty much minimum wage. For kind of just the whole story on that, I work underneath my parents' LLC, my mom's LLC in particular. So pretty much, I work for my mom. I do whatever she tells me to do, and I get paid for it. It's a pretty nice gig. It's really good for just, you know, having some running money, having some mod money, just to mess around with. It doesn't really help with the big parts. You know, something like the steering rack, for example, which I'm gonna, instead of getting the entire thing replaced, I'm gonna see if they can just reseal it. If they're gonna have to go through the whole process of disassembling it anyway. So I may still get tie rods, because that's one thing my dad did recommend I do, is replace the tie rod, since the truck ought to be apart anyway. But I did not want to spend the $300, $400 to get a new rack in, and the extra amount of money to actually be able to swap them out and install it. Because that just adds more labor, and it's going to make it more expensive. So I'd rather spend the money, just get it resealed, so it doesn't have to necessarily come out all the way and be swapped, and I don't have to spend the money to get the replacement rack, since it does work as long as that's fluid, it just leaks. So I'm going to be saving a lot of money doing that, and the plan is whatever's left over, I'll be able to actually enjoy the truck the rest of the way. Maybe even get started on wrap, maybe get my exhaust finalized, maybe even get my supercharger started, my supercharger setup started for when January rolls around and I can actually invest in getting a new engine. Anyway, I gotta get that done. I'm gonna call AutoZone, see if they can happen to carry this bolt kit, and we will go from there. And yeah, let's get on with the rest of the video. One thing I haven't done in a while is a cold start, so doors open, so I apologize for the dinging. I really can't wait to get the new motor in, and that belt chatter, the chiming chain, whatever that is, I about to actually said it. Y'all almost got me cussing on video. But all that's taken care of with the new motor. I don't even know, I'm down to just the harmonic balancer to causing the belt chatter, so. Hang on, this figured out. Now it's my turn to get my belt chatter figured out. Anyway, AutoZone said they do have it, like not in stock, but they are able to get it. It's a vendor thing, so I have to go in and order it. But they have it, at least. I can actually get it through them. It'll just be a couple days. So, yeah, that sucks. But anyway, we're going to go to the landfill, get all that taken care of for the day, go pick up, or go and at least place the order for the part. I actually have the box with me, so I can actually, because they said they have it. So I don't know if they'll be able to, I don't know, just in case they need the box to reference everything. But anyway, let's hit the road. All right, guys, back from AutoZone. So they told me on the phone that they had the Moog kit in stock, or not in stock, we're able to get the Moog kit. But I apologize for your eardrums. I probably ear raped that in the editing. Anyway. They didn't have it. They had to special order the Duralast kit, which sucks because I really wanted to have the Moog stuff. I don't like Duralast as a brand, but I was getting out. I was looking over the truck, and 1 inch lower is going to be pretty darn sweet. So on the front, I already don't have a whole lot of wheel gap. I can still fit my entire hand in here, but it's going to be nicer to have that bit of a tighter wheel gap. And the back is where like the big problem is, because when it was stock, I could fit my head in here. I can still fit my arm in here and still have room to spare. I'm a pretty big dude, so that's kind of nuts to me. But I can't wait to see it 1 more inch lower. It's gonna look freaking sweet. I like it. This truck has come a long way, guys, and I really love this thing. It gets on my nerves every now and again. I mean, the other day, me and Hayden went out in it, and the push button wasn't even working right, so that's dealt with, but it's working fine now, but it wasn't at the time. But, you know, this truck's had its shortcomings, and it's had its issues, still does have issues, but I love it to death, and I wouldn't really have it any other way right now. So I'm going to go inside, but before that, the main topic of today's video, what made me want to lower a truck? in pretty much this is the majority of enthusiasts out there when it comes to trucks. You don't lower trucks. That's kind of like, to them, it's a cardinal sin in the automotive world. Most of the time with the car guys, liking trucks is a bit of a problem for most people that I've seen recently. On Car Throttle's post, the guy liked trucks and the guy got flamed for it. But what inspired me to lower a truck? So a lot of you guys who don't know my background, I grew up in a very lowrider inspired family. My dad was big into the mini truck lowrider scene back in the 90s. He never actually owned a mini truck. He had a 73 Volkswagen Super Beetle, but he was all about that life, the slammed static life, you know, getting tickets or being low and scraping over speed bumps, that whole mindset. And most of his friends, if not all of his friends in the 90s, drove mini trucks, Rangers, B-Series trucks, Frontiers, hard bodies, Hiluxes, you know, the whole 9 yards, S10s, all that kind of stuff. So as I was growing up, I had a lot of that influence on myself, mainly with the Volkswagen, but, you know, mini trucks were a huge part of my life growing up. My dad owned a 2000 Explorer Sport for a moment and a Frontier at one point. So, fortunately, my dad's had experience with VQs. You guys know how I feel about those motors. Anyway, the mini truck scene's been a huge part of my life since I was a kid. And when I turned 15, I wasn't really looking for a truck. I was looking for more of a car, because cars were more my thing than trucks were. But I really wanted the utilitarian, like the utility aspect of a truck, mainly of an SUV. I was looking actually at trying to find a Yukon or Tahoe two-door, one of the late 90s. I think it was GMT 400 platform two-door trucks, SUVs. They're not trucks. People who call SUVs trucks get on my nerves. The two-door SUVs that were the Tahoe, I think it was called the Tahoe and the Yukon GT. I was really looking for one of those. I couldn't find one. And then I really moved into trucks. I really wanted a Chevy. I used to be a bow tie guy, actually, before I got the Ford. As you guys can see, we kind of gone back on that. My mom having a Chevy now. But as a kid, I was very bow tie guy. I loved Camaros. I loved Corvettes. I still love those two now. But Ford's got to have my heart right now. And I've become a bona fide Ford guy. I still love Chevy. I still love the Camaro and the Corvette and the older Silverados. But I love the Mustang and, well, the trucks a little bit more on the Ford side. So what inspired me then? So, yeah, like I said, when I turned 15, I wanted two trucks. I wanted, when I was first looking at trucks instead of SUVs, I wanted a Dodge Dakota because at the time, is when I still respected all three companies. I just love you guys know I'm not crazy about Dodge anymore. You know, I respect the accomplishments they have, and I mean, my uncle has a Dodge, and I still respect him despite the fact that while I would not buy a Charger or Challenger, it was his decision. He loves the car, so where is it in my right to go and go hard on him for it? But anyway, I wanted the Dakota. I wanted, mainly for the 4.7 truck. I thought it was so cool that Dodge had put a V8 in their midsize. I, however, knowing full well our experiences with Dodge in the family, my mom's last Caravan, a lot of you guys remember the last Grand Caravan that used to park in this spot before the Equinox was here. It had a computer failure. It had, the trunk came off alignment. The spoiler broke off. I can't do 3 for whatever reason. My pinky doesn't respond well to that. The spoiler fell off of it. Let's see what else. The AC failed. The airbag light wouldn't go off for whatever reason, so it wouldn't pass emissions anymore. The check engine light had been on. It also wouldn't pass emissions due to that. And keep in mind, this was a 2011, and it had 153,000 miles on it. It wasn't even close to 200K, and it was already having bugs. It was the last Dodge my mom owned. My mom's last Caravan before that, her 2000 Caravan, which no one's seen on this channel. That thing went through, I believe, 4 to 8 transmissions within less than a year and a half. That also didn't even reach 200,000 miles before it bit the dust. In fact, when we went to trade it in on the last Grand Caravan my mom had, they were only offering us $500. And that was a base model van. It didn't have power doors. It didn't have the nice radio. It didn't even have keyless entry. It didn't even have a tachometer. It was a pile of crap, to say the least. But anyway, I moved into the Chevy S10 and the old GMC 400 Sierra Silverado, the C1500s and the K1500, stuff like that. And then when that fell out, I almost got one actually. I almost got a 95 Sierra. with the 5.7 throttle body injected, or yeah, I think it was throttle body injected. But then we finally moved on to the Sport Track, which is where we are today. Long story short, you guys know this origin story, but actually the night we looked at this, I was looking at a 2001 Accord V6 Coupe. It was also auto, unfortunately. My dad went to the dealership to stop by before I had a chance to look at it. The car was getting purchased, and it was a pile of junk, and they had rolled the odometer back about 100,000 miles. Later, we find out it was actually the same dealership where we bought the purple Caravan, my mom's first van. And now we're at this. So that night, my dad got home, and he was like, hey, get your shoes on, keep your shoes on, because I was pretty bummed out about the Accord. And we drove out to a little town called Rockmart, Georgia, where this happened to be when it was completely bone stock. Had the old silver cookie cutter wheels on it. It didn't have the front badge, the headlights, or anything. Used to actually rock a Florida Gators front plate on this thing before I got it. That wasn't there when I got it. Obviously, you guys remember that video when I unveiled it to you guys back when I had like 15 subscribers. This thing's been around for a very long time, guys. But the lowering part came about, you know, obviously a couple of years later. And I'd been plotting it out in my head. I wanted to go bagged. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. I eventually went with going static, but doing it in such a way where I can use drag radials and, you know, beefed up components to make this thing actually run pretty well at the track. That's why I wanted to go supercharger with it. That's why I wanted to do so much with the engine. I just haven't been able to afford it yet. But yeah, that's kind of the story on why I lowered my 03 Sport Track. And like I said, in the coming weeks, we'll be lowering it more. It will be going from 3 inches out back, 2.5 up front, to 3.5 up front, 4 out back. So I'm very excited. I can't wait for you guys to see that. It's going to look freaking gnarly because 3 inches really did a lot for this thing. It's actually about the same ride height, if not a little bit shorter than my mom's Equinox. It doesn't feel that way when you're sitting in the driver's seat because the Equinox has a more car feel than the truck does. But, you know, I digress. So anyway, thank you all again for watching. Hope everyone has a fantastic day. And I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of just brief explanation on the truck's history. If you guys want to see more of the truck's history and even some of the early build videos from when I think this thing was like, you know, I had it for like less than a year. Go check out the Sport Track Super List. I'll link it in the top right-hand corner of the video, and you guys can go check it out. I swear, every single video this truck's ever been in, for the most part. I'm still missing several, like probably at least close to 30 to 40 videos on the channel the truck's actually been in on there. But pretty much every build series video on there. The headlights, the taillights, the wheels, the front badge, I believe, is on there now. The front plate, the seats, I believe everything is in there. So if you guys want to go check out the entire build history of this truck, be sure to go check it out there. I also have multiple videos on just an up-to-date, just all in one video, which I'll be doing another one in the future, probably when this thing's closer to finish. But anyway, guys, hope you all enjoyed. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and I'll see you guys on Friday.